Now we're going to move on to our final game, and I'm not even kidding, and you guys might agree with me, or you might disagree, I don't know, but this might be the hardest game that we've had to pick all year. This is South Carolina versus who is now unranked Vanderbilt at 4:15 p.m. The ESPN FPI says that South Carolina has a 59% chance to win this game, even though it's on the road. And the spread is actually also South Carolina by 3.5 points. South Carolina coming off a huge upset win against Texas A&M. They, like I said earlier, they truly feel like they could have been where AM is now, tied for first in the conference if they had just a couple things go their way. I think we said a couple weeks ago, no Lenoris Sellers selling, field goal kickers, and competent referees. Anyway, if you would have told me in August, however, that after the first weekend of November, Vandy would be 6-3, there's no way I would have believed you. I don't think any of us would have believed you. They are breaking tons of records this year and making Vanderbilt history. Obviously, this game is extremely hard to pick. Two teams who have all of the momentum right now, extremely hot. But South Carolina has to go to Nashville, which historically obviously has not been the hardest place to play. But as the program picks up, so is the stadium pulse. And Clark Lea he's really playing dynasty mode in real life. These two teams are incredibly hot right now. But who is hotter? Who's going to come out on top? Joey, who you got?
I mean, yeah, it's a difficult pick at Vanderbilt. Both teams being hot, but I really think that South Carolina has more momentum in this one. I love how before starting to record this episode, I said I hate picking South Carolina. I may have picked them only once ever on this show, but let's make that 2 times. I just think South Carolina is the better team. I mean, yeah, they have losses, and again, almost doesn't mean anything. They still lost those games, but they still looked like the better team in those losses. So I gotta pick South Carolina. You just look eye test; they're just the better team. Now, if Lenore's Sellers plays like he did at the end of the Alabama game, Vandy by 90, but I got South Carolina.
Oh man, how I wish I was going not at all on this pick. This is tough. This is going to be a tough one. I was going to say last, but honestly, I wish I was going fourth, and we only have three of us, so do the math. Honestly, man, this game really could go either way. This game's in Nashville. I've been riding with Vandy. Listen, LSU's got Vandy in Tiger Stadium in 2 weeks. I talked about it with my LSU buddies. We're like, man, Vandy could come into Tiger Stadium and make some noise. Um, I really honestly want Vandy to win this game for the sake of the brand, if you will. Vanderbilt has really put together a pretty solid season, a good run so far. Now, they did almost lose to Mizzou. They did beat Bama. South Carolina almost beat Bama, and they throttled Oklahoma just a couple of weeks ago. And, they just whooped up on A&M. I really want to go with the Commodores. Man, 3.5-point spread. It's going to be a really close game in Nashville on Saturday afternoon. I am going to actually have to go with the Gamecocks. I think South Carolina goes into Nashville and gets the win. I think Vandy keeps it close. I think South Carolina covers probably by a touchdown, maybe more. I don't know, but 3.5 points is kind of a weird line. I like the Cox on Saturday. I really kind of want Vandy to win this game, but I'm going to have to go with South Carolina on Saturday afternoon.
I just want to say real quick, I could be wrong, but I believe Vanderbilt from the SEC shorts will also be at the game. Yes, you know it. The crown, the robe, the sunglasses. Could that be the momentum that they need?
All right, so what's the theme of this show been today, right? It's the fact that a team has come off a huge win. They're going to come up against an opponent, that is maybe not as good as them and fall or not play as well against them and still somehow, scruff out the win. But both of these teams are coming off big wins. I say that really more in Vandy because South Carolina obviously coming off a huge explosive win against A&M. Vandy coming off a big win against Auburn. Now, you might think like, okay, but it's Auburn. But Vandy's never beat Auburn in Jordan Hare. They've never won there. Once again, making Vandy history. They won that game by double digits. The momentum right now, man. I mean, you have South Carolina, who is hot right now, coming off that big win against Texas A&M. Vandy, who almost beat Texas 2 weeks ago. They get the bye week, and then they get to play Auburn. Man, give me Vandy on this one, bro. Give me Vandy, but give me South Carolina to cover, which is I think it's going to be like a point game. I think this is going to be like by 1 or 2 points, or 3 points, with the spread being at 3.5. Yeah, I think that I think South Carolina is going to cover, but I think this is going to be a really close game. But I think with it being at Vandy, with the way that they've been playing this year, they almost beat Texas. They kept it close with them, but they don't turn the ball over if they play really well. Now, I actually would say too, though, I think this is going to be the toughest defense that Vandy's faced this season, because Alabama's defense was not that great. Texas's defense was not that great. South Carolina's defense has actually been playing pretty well, minus the game where they gave up, 27 to Ole Miss, but they still held them under 30 and only scored 3 points on offense, which says a lot, because usually when you give the ball back that many times, they're going to run the score up on you. Just ask Arkansas. So I think that, I do think that Vandy is going to win this game. However, I think South Carolina is going to cover. I see a final score of 24-21 Vanderbilt.